Hi, I'm Dr. Patrick Garrett for the Cleaning Challenge. Well, it's that time of year again. We're getting ready for Christmas, and we're trying to figure out what the heck to eat for food, right? Well, one of the things to think about why we're eating, or we're planning to eat this food, is what to make for Christmas dinner. One of the things to keep in context is that, you know, Christmas never pans out to be exciting as fun as the songs are, right? So while we're the 44th happiest country in the world and we're the #1 in depression and anxiety, most people end up being more depressed during the holidays. And one of the big contributions to that can end up being what the heck you eat, right? So if you want to change your mood, then we need to change your food. So Christmas dinner should be friggin' healthy. It should be awesome, right? And it's just what we've really changed to kind of make food pleasure and just constant pleasure that has created this meal that is now 5,000 calories, which actually increase permanent weight gain by a pound just during the holidays. So think about that. Even if you ate 5,000 calories in one meal, you could go run 10 miles and still gain 1 pound from that. That's incredible. But all we do is we turn something super healthy into something that just makes us feel miserable, right? Instant pleasure followed by just constant depression. So as the holidays are frustrating enough, dealing with all these people and emotions and the buying of stuff and shopping and all that crap, we want to feel good through this process, right? And all the meals that follow, that are our leftovers should be making us feel awesome. So let's go through a few things. The #1 thing is if you're going to do stuffing, do gluten-free stuffing. Gluten is horrible for you. And even though people may not be completely celiac and, kind of like, well, is this a gluten thing or not a gluten thing? We have tested over the last 13, 14 years, 99.9% of the IgG food sensitivities that we've done always include gluten. Now there's other proteins within wheat. There's 20-something other proteins that can be problematic for people, but gluten tends to be the most problematic. And it can cause people to have instant depression, instant anxiety, and it's an easy thing just to leave out. So you don't have to worry about those problems. Again, some people, oh, it's a fad, no, it's a real thing for a lot of people. Maybe not everybody, but a lot of people. And if we were doing it by test, 99.9% of the people, right? So just ditch it. Do gluten-free, right? You can buy gluten-free. It's not the healthiest stuff in the world usually, but it's stuffing. So, you mix it with a lot of herbs and vegetables and garlic and onions, and you could actually make it somewhat healthy, but you're not going to end up with emotional consequences from that. So look up a very healthy, like a paleo stuffing recipe would be great, right? The other thing is, don't do, candied yams and that kind of crap. Again, you're taking a healthy thing like sweet potatoes and leave them healthy. So do roasted vegetables or roasted sweet potatoes. And in doing so, just a little olive oil and salt. In fact, if you add sea salt, it has iodine in there, and it has 40 to 80 other minerals in there, and so you're going to actually feel better and more energetic than you would otherwise. So with roasted vegetables, chopping up things like beets is really good, sweet potatoes, some white potatoes, maybe purple potatoes if you want to get exciting, right? You can throw some Brussels sprouts in that mix, some green beans, and you just kind of mix that with some olive oil and some salt. Put it on like a either cast iron, or you can do a stone pan, and those will actually keep it crisp, so it even tastes better. But throw some rosemary on there too, and now it's 100,000 times more antioxidant than vitamin A, C, or E. So now you're actually having anti-aging roasted vegetables. And at 450 at 450 degrees for 45 minutes. There you go. They'll turn out great, and they taste awesome cold later on when you're snacking. You get a little peckish, right? What about mashed potatoes, right? Mashed potatoes end up using a bunch of white potatoes, cooking them down so that the sugars are more instantly absorbable, and then using a lot of butter, which is an estrogenic nightmare. So then prostates are swelling up, and you're worried about talking about breast cancer and how Aunt Mabel has breast cancer. Well, you just increased all that estrogen too. You're making things worse. So instead, you can use less glycemic potatoes, and by doing that, especially like making sweet mashed potatoes, or do half white, half sweet potatoes. You can even throw in a carrot in there. You could do that first because it has to break down a little bit longer. But then use olive oil and use sea salt, and that actually makes it healthier, and it still tastes great. If you want to use a little tofu-y, organic tofu-based something that tastes like cream cheese, that's fine too. You make it a little bit creamier too. It's a once in a while thing. And that way it's non-problematic for you. And those phytosterols that are actually in tofu, if it's organic, is actually going to benefit hormones as opposed to causing detriment. Then there's things like, green bean casseroles. And really, if you want to be healthy during the holidays, ditch the casseroles. Casseroles usually mean a bunch of dairy and cheese and crap and feeling horrible and miserable. You don't want that. So just do real actual fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds, real things. So with green bean casserole, just do green beans with a little olive oil and salt, and they'll taste phenomenal, right? Asparagus, same thing. Do a cranberry dish, not a cranberry relish, right? And so my wife makes this really great cranberry dish that has nuts and cranberries in there, and it tastes phenomenal. It is so good. And that's real, right? You eat that and it's like, wow, that's phenomenal. But I don't have any detriment from that. I don't feel horrible, half an hour later. And things like ranch, those are easy to get rid of. I mean, even if you do like a good baba ganoush recipe, which baba ganoush is just like hummus. So you can do hummus, right? That's an easy enough thing to get. And look at the ingredients if you buy it. If you make it, it's like crazy easy. Our 8-year-old actually makes our hummus for the house. But baba ganoush is just roasted eggplant until it collapses, and then you scrape all that middle white stuff out, and you make hummus with it. So instead of using chickpeas, it's the same thing. And, it's like, well, that's not really Christmas, right? But that's Middle Eastern food. That's where Jesus came from. That's the whole reason for the season, right? So we want to eat food that is from the area where Jesus came from. It's even better, right? So with baba ganoush, you're going to get lots of flavor, like that ranch kind of taste, but you're not going to get any problems from that. It's not going to be an estrogenic nightmare for people. Same thing with hummus. Oh my gosh, that's fabulous. Throw some herbs in there, some smoked paprika. You can have 3 different hummuses, and they're awesome. And if you want to get a little creative, you can even throw in like a little quinoa tabbouleh mix, So you'd make regular tabbouleh, but instead of using wheat, right, like couscous or something, just use quinoa. If you use black or red, it's even more antioxidant, more flavonoids in there. But if you use the white, that's more easily accessible in the U.S., then that's great too. People are going to feel fabulous. And really, if you make your quinoa tabbouleh, it's olive oil and lemon and Grey Poupon mustard. And man, after you eat that, you should actually feel cleansed. It's a great thing to end it with. Instead of gravy should be fairly healthy. I mean, it's the fat off the turkey, and the fat does not make you fat. Sugar makes you fat. And we know that because the skinniest countries in the world eat the most fat, and the fattest countries eat the most sugar. So, don't be worried about the drippings of the gravy, that's fine. But instead of using wheat to make your roux, use arrowroot. So arrowroot's going to be 0 calories, it's just from a root. It's lots of fiber in there, but it's fabulous for that. And you can buy that anywhere. And then with wine, do red wine, not white wine, and not sweet wine, right? Red wine, you can't gulp, it'll slow you down, and you actually have cardiovascular benefits from that. So instead of causing Uncle Bob's heart condition to get worse, you're actually reversing heart disease, right? As soon as you drink that, it actually reverses it. So look for like a Cab Sav, but if you don't like it that dry, then try a Malbec or a Shiraz or something that you enjoy a little bit more. And again, it shouldn't be instant pleasure. It should just be enjoyable. The other thing is, just having more vegetables, more fruits, more in raw form. It doesn't have to be a dish necessarily either. So, all in all, the goal is to ditch the wheat as much as possible and ditch the dairy as much as possible. Even with rolls, you don't have to have rolls. Now, if you feel like you have to have rolls, that's fine. Look up a good paleo recipe. Make it out of coconut flour, almond flour, or chickpea flour or something like that, right? Try something that actually is going to make you feel great and not cause problems and not make you, gain a ton of weight by the end of the day. So that's how you're going to have a great, clean Christmas and probably have a little bit more enjoyable time with everybody. Nobody's going to feel all doped down by the end and falling asleep and getting all moody and anxious and depressed and making it all worse. So, change your food to change the mood. You want to have a happy Thanksgiving? Eat a happy meal. Not a McDonald's happy meal. Alright, that's all. Enjoy your Christmas. Bye-bye.